Welcome back to Happy Lies, Sad Truth, the podcast where we break down life's toughest lessons and show you how to flip them into your wins. I'm Boss, and today we're talking about a transformation most people won't admit to, going from drug dealing to dream dealing. Let me get comfortable in this place. Oh, yes. Boss 3 and T Clothing is one of our sponsors. Anyway, how y'all doing today? Y'all good? Well, today, man, this episode isn't about glorifying the hustle in the streets. It's about magnifying the mindset that took me from trading illegal substances to building visionary aspirations and becoming a successful entrepreneur. Well, a lot of people say I'm successful. I'm still on my Don King thing. Don King said, if you know how much money you got, you ain't got none. But if you ever wondered how to turn survival into success, how to shift your focus from short-term gains to long-term legacy, this one's for you. This one right here is for you. I mean, I've been through a whole lot of stuff, man. Starting, man, I remember turning $50 into $100,000 in less than 6 months. You know what I'm saying? It's like everyday. That's like my biggest struggle, not to get in the game. But but they made it easier now because it's the risk and reward is way off balance, and it's not even no more real life grinders, go getters anyway, out there anymore. Really for real anyway. Like with the mindset of a hustler. I mean, the mindset. I mean, I guess in today's, the young overpower the old, I suppose. But anyway, let's just get one thing straight. Drug dealing isn't about choice. Most times, well, at least when I was growing up, it was about survival. When you grew up in an environment where options are limited and opportunities are scarce, you learn to make a way out of no way. You know what I mean? For me, the streets were my first classroom. That's where we learned it at. It was, started off playing baseball at St. Andrews Park to the older homies living across the street and down the street. All we did was like idolize them cats. And then when that money came into the picture, and then my cousins and them was from the other side, they was getting paper. And that's when I used to go to my mama house on the weekend, man. I used to be like, man, this what I was like where I grew up at. It wasn't too many of them over there. I mean, really. But with but anyway, let's get back on track. I learned supply and demand before I even knew what the words meant. Like watching my cousins and them. I learned how to manage risk, how to negotiate, and how to read people. I learned discipline, resilience, and focus. All skills that, believe it or not, will later become the foundation of my entrepreneurial journey. Yeah, real business. But here's the catch. The streets didn't come with no retirement plan. Yeah, ain't no retirement plan after, the streets is like one or two things: prison or death, if or both. You know what I mean? And the people that send you to both of them places usually be somebody that be your partner, somebody you got all the love in the world for. The only outcomes, like I said, man, the only outcomes are jail, death, or getting out before it's too late. That's the third choice. So at that point, I knew I had to pivot. You know what I mean? It wasn't no ifs, ands, and buts about it, man. I mean, it's like a constant revolving circle when you hustling. I mean, you make 100, 200, 300,000. Then somebody get caught up, you got to bail them out, get them a lawyer, or the feds get on you. You know what I mean? Or a package get lost, you got to, bounce back like a round ball. But if you're a real hustler, it's nothing, but it's continuous. And before you know it, you 50 years old. And something happened, it's like, damn, now you got to do the whole process. And then by the times being the way it is, you basically have no choice but to do it yourself. I mean, that is if you don't want to follow the pattern of everybody before us that got told on by everybody. Like my granddad used to say, man, you don't let your right hand know what your left hand doing. But every hustler had that moment, man. The one where you realize the game you're playing isn't built for you to win. It might be built for you in your mind, but it ain't built for you to win. But the moment came after me, though, for me. Like just too many calls, man. And then in 2000, I got shot 13 times. At one time, man, 11 times with a 38 and twice with a 45, man. And that was my wake-up call. I survived, but I knew I had to, man, I couldn't keep playing the same game, man. I had to take the skills that I honed in on in the streets, man, and apply them to something legitimate, something sustainable. But I did it, and then I, dibble and dabble, had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And let me tell you, man, walking away from the street ain't easy. That's like the biggest drug. People think using drugs is the addiction. The addiction is really selling drugs. That's like a everyday struck, like one day at a time with me. Like, and ask any real hustler, man. Like my grandmama said, you receive temporary happiness because you selling temporary happiness. It takes vision, man, courage, and a belief that there's something better out there for you. But once I made that decision, everything changed. It's like you so used to having money a particular kind of way, so you still be doing it, but then you start realizing that money not coming in like it was. So you can't go out and spend $5,000-$10,000 at the club and then be like it's nothing, or eating out, or even buying your kids stuff that they don't really need. You know what I mean? Just because you want them to, So I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like the shit be overwhelming. And then you be saying to yourself in your mind, all I gotta do is do this one more time. But do your homework on all the hustlers, man. That one more time, always be that one more time, that last time. Yeah. So you just gotta stay focused, man. The first step in flipping the hustle is realizing that the same skills that made you successful in the streets can make you successful in business. You know what I mean? Like product acknowledgement. You got to know your product. In the streets, it was crack. You got to know how to turn the powder into crack. I don't know the recipe. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you got to have product knowledge. In the streets, you have to know the product inside and out. You can't sell nobody no bullshit, whether it's weed, cocaine, heroin, whatever it is. I took that same mindset in my first business, the 8158 Hair Company. I was ordering the hair from India. And then the company, of course, tried to work me with the mindset thinking he way in America. I know that's what they thought. I jumped right on the plane, went right over there and got right on their head. And in the process of that, I did my homework on the temple and all that. I went and took care of that business at that building. And then I went to the temple. Then when I went to the temple, I met Raju, a guy named Raju, and built a supply chain from the ground up. I mean, his family been into the hair game, but they was with it. Everything I was talking about, they had no problem. And they flew to America and introduced me to their nieces and everything. But then you got to have customer relationships. You got to build customer relationships. In the streets, your survival depends on trust and loyalty. That's why I so fucked up now. But anyway, I carried that into my hair store in Inglewood, Ontario, and Atlanta, building relationships with customers that kept them coming back. I had the highest quality real human hair, not processed hair that y'all get from China, but real virgin Indian hair straight off the scalp. I even had some videos where I was showing my stores. And then adaptability. Adaptability. The streets teach you to pivot when things don't go as planned. That skill helped me branch into, you know, like the diesels, the big rigs. I jumped into that a little too fast. But then the restaurant, and then the clothing line. The clothing line was my thing, man. From this movie Scarface, when the dude was like, "I want to see my name on the back of women's ass," and then the infused condiments. So the transition wasn't easy, but it was worth it. I traded fast money for long-term stability, and the results speak for themselves. Now it'll be ups and downs, but you ain't got to worry about them people coming to take your money, take your house, your car, put you in jail. Then you got to bail out, pay for a lawyer, fight. You ain't got to do all that. You know what I mean? So, but it's just like life. Even in that game, sometimes it rains. The sun don't shine every day, man. You know what I mean? So you just gotta. It gotta be in you. You gotta want it. You gotta really, really want to get out. Like my nigga Jigga said, I don't always want to be this drug dealing motherfucker. Lessons from the streets to the boardroom. Here's what I learned, man. Know your value. You got to know your value. On the streets, you learn quickly not to undervalue yourself. You learn that quick. If you got your eyes and ears open, you learn that, man. Never undervalue yourself. In business, this translates to understanding your worth and charging accordingly. You know what I mean? So that's just like with Boss 3 and T clothing. All the fabrics for them sweatsuits is top notch. All the fabrics. They none of that. None of them have that. What when you buy the stuff and put your logo on it, everything is designed and handmade from the fabric. So it's the same scenario. And also you got to leverage relationships. The connections you build can make or break you. It's just like the streets. Whether it's a supplier in India or a driver in the truck business, relationships matter. And always think long term, man. Always. The streets teach you to think about the next day because you never put past you. Like anything can happen. The feds can raid, the jackers can come, your enemies can bend the corner, anything. But business teaches you to think about the next decade. I shifted my mindset from survival mode to legacy mode. You know what I mean? It's but like I said, it's not no like, oh, just wake up in the morning and do it. You got to put your mind to it and you got to really want it. You know what I mean? Because it's a especially if you're a real go-getter, you was really getting paper. It's a struggle, man. Like my kids be asking for shit. That should be like, especially my daughters, but sitting in prison ain't the way, man. Real business. These lessons didn't just make me a better entrepreneur. They made me a better person, man. Real business. So like people still look at me like a particular kind of way. But the way you gotta be in the streets is most of the time is not necessarily you. It's who you've become. Because you got to be this kind of way in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You can't give nobody the luxury of playing with you, man. Because the time you do, it can cost you. That's what happened. That's how I got shot 13 times playing. Real business. Playing when I should have handled business immediately, if not sooner. But dream dealing, like the legacy, man. Today I'm not just dealing in dreams for myself. I'm helping others see what's possible, man. You know what I mean? Like real business. I talked to a young partner today, man. He really, I don't even be remembering that people look at me like that, man. I have to give you some game. He asked for some game. This podcast, Happy Lies, Sad Truth, is part of that mission. It's my way of showing you that no matter where you start, you can rewrite your story, man. The streets gave me a mindset, but it was up to me to choose where to apply it. You know what I mean? It was my choice. You have choices, man. I chose to build businesses, create opportunities, and inspire others, man. I'm not gonna force my way on nobody, especially no grown man. But that's the real hustle, man. Real business. That's the real hustle. You just, I like when I had to speak on that because inspiring others. I'm not really into like, hey man, this is what you're doing is wrong, and not. That's up for the person to decide on itself. You got to be ready for this, man. Can't nobody talk you into changing your life, man. And it really ain't changing your life. I mean, I guess it's changing your life. I mean, but like when the older ones be on the young ones, man, you gotta let them dudes go through their cycle, man. Period. You can tell them, give them some game on. All right, look, if you do this and do this, and if this happened, this is gonna happen. It didn't happen for the last 50 years. It's inevitable. And just move on. Kick it with them. Hey, whoop, and give them game. They'll love that. But if you're listening right now and you caught in on a cycle, you think you can't escape. Let me tell you this, man. If you get caught in a cycle where you feel like you can't escape, the skills you're using to survive can be the same skills you use to thrive. You just have to pivot. You just got to pivot, baby. Like real business. It's the same scenario when the block get hot, the town, whatever. It's the same scenario, man. A lot of us, like the young kid I was talking to today, he was like, man, I be feeling out of place when I be in them places. Why? You a star where you from, they a star where they from. Don't nobody know how much money you got unless you tell them. It's just that simple. All you got to do is make sure you comfortable with yourself. I'm the same person, whether I'm paid or not, man. I come up in a room with all the billionaires and hang out, man. Like, what's happening? And adapt. But from drug dealing to dream dealing, that's my story. And it's proof that no matter where you come from, man, no matter where you come from, no matter what you've done, you can change your life, man, if that's what you want to do. Period. And I'd like to say not change. I mean, it's changing the things that you do, but you're not changing the person that you are. You are who you are. You can only be you. You know what I mean? That's it. You can only be you. There's no other way. That's the only way you're going to win. Be yourself. You got to be yourself. But at any rate, I won't hold you all up no more. Thanks for tuning in to Happy Lies, Sad Truth. If this episode lit a fire in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, the only limits are the ones you set for yourself. Until next time, keep it real, keep it raw, and keep it true. And remember, shop with our sponsors, BOSS, the number 3, N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, clothing, the number 3.com. And at Dr. Green, DAKTERGREN on Instagram to order your infused condiments. Thank you.